Hi guys, welcome back to Gardening with Creations by DX & Co. Today we're actually going to up-pot one of those peppers we talked about in the last video. So if you recall, we talked about a couple of different pepper plants and one of them not doing so well in the pot that it's in for the winter. So we're going to go ahead and get started moving that over. Let's get started. All right, so the pepper that we have in question here. So the pepper we have in question here is this one here. It's just a couple of different bell pepper plants, and as you can see, they are looking pathetic. I would have to water this thing absolutely daily because of this fabric style pot here. It's great for outside when it's raining and the sprinklers are on and things like that. It gets the right amount of water. Tiny the bearded dragon right next to me is trying to eat the plant as I'm holding it up. But even the fruit that's on it's starting to droop and just rot right on the stem because it's just not getting the moisture that it needs to do anything. So we're going to go ahead and get this one changed over to a pot that I had available in the house. That pot here is Noelle. Thank you. They don't want to see you right now. They don't want to see you. Come on. Go. Go. Go on. That pot is with this pot here. So it's actually got a drip tray on the bottom I can take off, but I may end up leaving it on just because I'm not going to be watering it that much. But you can see it already has some soil in it. This particular soil this pot was a snake plant. Pretty sure the cats peed in it and everything. So we're definitely not going to be using this soil by itself. We're going to actually refresh the soil and reuse it, and that's part of what I want to show you today before we move these plants over. So let's get started. Okay, so it's actually quite wet outside at the moment. It's been a very rainy October, which if it wasn't cold would be awesome, but unfortunately it's very cold at the same time. So I've decided to shoot this in my garage really quick for you guys. So I've got a wheelbarrow. A bucket would do too if you don't have a wheelbarrow, but you can find wheelbarrows relatively inexpensive on Marketplace. They come in handy quite a bit when you're working in the garden. So I've got my bucket of soil. I'm just going to go ahead and dump it all out. And as you can see there from that shot, it's just a brick after dumping it out. And then what I'm going to do, typically speaking, you'd want to add either some peat moss as well as some compost would be ideal if you have compost. Anything to kind of fluff up the soil a little bit. What we're going to do instead is actually use potting mix that I have on hand in the garage. I'm not going to go out to the garden right now and dig up compost, so I'm just going to use a bit of potting mix to refresh this here. And then we're going to get it all back in the bucket and wet it down here. So let me show you what I'm doing here. So this potting mix that I'm using is just the Aldi brand. I'll tell you right now, I am not a fan of it whatsoever. I bought it this year for some seed starting, and I won't be using it again. It does have a lot of bark in it right now, which is perfectly fine for what we're using it for. Not great for seed starting by any means. So that bucket was only about half full, so I'm going to use quite a bit of it here. And then what we're going to do is just take a shovel. If all you have is your hands, if you have some gloves on, that's a great idea too. It's probably even better. Just going to mix up the old stuff, breaking up the big chunks that we had there. And we're just going to get everything. The new, you can see, was dark and black versus the old was just a very light brown. So we want that good, rich black soil mixed in. And it's best if you do have, if you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, it's best to come in here and actually just break up these chunks by hand. That's going to be the best thing for it. You really don't want those chunks in there as you're trying to plant your new plants. And you can do this with any kind of soil when you're transplanting plants with your, just trying to repot your house plants. You can just get those all worked up. And we just want all that good soil and bring back the nutrients into that old soil, so that way we give our pepper plants that we're transplanting the best chance to grab on. And this is going to be soil that's going to be a lot better at holding and retaining that water and that moisture, so we don't have to water it daily and it's not going to just leak out. And there are make sure your pot does have drainage holes regardless. Mine, like I said, has a water catch on the bottom, but it is a removable one. So if I find that it's holding too much water, I can take that off of there. So now that we've gotten our soil really mixed up, we've gotten all those big chunks broken up, we can go ahead and put our soil back in our pot. So I'm going to start by scooping the bulk of it in there. Just get it mixed up. Just throw it in there. Doesn't need to be compact. You can leave it relatively loose in there, but you want to get it. For me, these pepper plants are small, so they don't need a lot of support just yet. So I'm going to put as much soil as I can back in this to fill it up almost all the way to the top. If you have like a larger plant and you needed it to recess a little bit, fill it up to that level, but this will be a good pot that I can take outside in the summer, or in the spring, I should say. And that should be something I can grow out those peppers in next season. So this will keep for them in the winter. So let me go grab those pepper plants and let's get them transplanted. All right, I've got those peppers in here. There's actually 4 of them in here. The one's a little tiny one I'm not that worried about. So, but this soil is so dry and loose that it's not going to take me much to get that pepper plant out. And I'm just going to keep it in that root ball there, full of its original soil. I'm just going to loosely dig down with my hand, get that planted, and backfill it a little bit. People worry when it comes to repotting about going too far up on the stem. They think it'll kill. With tomato plants, that's a necessity. With other plants, believe it or not, they'll survive. If you have a little bit high up on the root, it's not the end of the world. It won't necessarily harm most plants. So you could bury this pepper plant kind of deep and support it a little bit, and it's going to do fine. So look at that one, nice, huge, healthy root ball. That's what we were hoping for. These plants are starving for water, so we're going to get this watered in real nicely as soon as this is done. And we'll do this third one here. Well, looks like the third and the fourth one. The fourth one's on here in this root ball. We'll just try to get this whole thing in there. If it grows, it grows. If it dies back, I'm okay with that too. So, really only need 1 of these pepper plants. Typically, you wouldn't put this many pepper plants in a pot. They were already in this pot, and so at this point, I'm just salvaging them. So I'm going to go ahead and take this inside, get it watered in, put it back in the greenhouse. But that's it, guys. That's how you refresh your potting soil and get everything transplanted, and then give it a good watering. And I'm just going to keep an eye on this in the coming weeks and make sure it's performing like we want it to. And that's all there is to it. Hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying your gardens. Thanks for watching.